Hopefully this sounds not crazy. Oh man, I'm competing with Solana and Fred Krueger. Okay, good luck to me. Good luck to me. We hop in the Telegram. Oh, lights. It was bright. All right. What's up? What's up? Let's see. We've got a few people in the chat right now or on X. Let's see. There's 21 people on X, probably a few people on YouTube. Let me just bring this up here. YouTube. Just trying to see how if I'm streaming on here. That is not. It's on my youtube.com/Joe Blau. That should be my account. I'm live. And there's one person here. Perfect. All right, cool. Let's see. All right, so Blau. Joe Blau. Oh, that's somebody following me on Arena. And then there are 11 people on Pump Fund. Okay. They must be getting ready to exit. Just kidding. I love my Pump Fund crowd. Are we thinking we'll manage to be finished this month? We'll see. Hopefully. Yo, Joe. 2 more weeks, guys. 2 more weeks. Give me like another 2 or 3 minutes. Let's let some people show up in the stream. If anybody has any questions, I guess I could answer this question for real. So yeah, the game is functional. It works on chain, but in the original design that we had, we obviously made some changes last week, and on the Saturday stream, or was it maybe Sunday stream, it was a really good experience. I think a lot of people had a good time being able to see other people's trades, and it made it more engaging. But I actually look at the metrics from the game. I don't just go off of, everybody's having fun. And so one of the things that's going to be tough to launch is if we just launch this game, my hoodie's crazy. Okay. If we just launch this game and then nobody plays it, it doesn't help us, right? We don't get any of the mechanics for the buy and burn. We don't get anybody using the game. Everybody's coming in and saying, oh, when is this going to go to mainnet? Mainnet doesn't mean anything if nobody's using the product, right? So the initial goal for us to launch and for us to be finished is that we need to have some better retention numbers. Now, what does that mean? It basically means that somebody can come to Bloxwap, play Bloxwap, have a great experience, and then want to come back in the future and potentially invite somebody else to play in the future. The current version of the game didn't really have those retention metrics, and I keep track of all the people that come to the site, and I'm watching all the metrics and seeing what's happening. So the main thing that we need to figure out is how do we get people to come play Bloxwap and then subsequently come back again and again and again to keep trying the game, right? So I know everybody wants to go to mainnet, but mainnet's not going to help us if people don't come back and people don't have a good experience. So there's a couple of questions, which I think I'll go into those actually right now. There are a couple of questions around what we need in terms of mechanics to go to mainnet. So one of the issues or one of the challenges with the version of the game that was out that we launched on Sunday, where we made, and basically for those of you who haven't been paying attention or don't know what the heck is going on, Bloxwap is a tap trading game. So here, let me show you what it looks like. So it basically looks like this. There's a price feed that's coming in from the left-hand side, and that price feed is just the current price of whatever asset you're tracking. And as the price moves, your goal is to make predictions and determine what you think the price is going to be. Now, the original version of this was a game where the price, you had to predict and hit this price exactly, right? So you had to click, and then your goal was to have this 7 hit this green dot, or this green price feed right here. So that would have been a win in the original game. The challenge with that is that the game is in what we call a parimutuel market, right? So a parimutuel market means that everybody plays against everybody else. And the biggest issue with that is if you have a parimutuel game, you need to have at least 2 people, right? Because you need to have some sort of liquidity pool. It can't just be you playing against nobody. There needs to be some other opponent that you're playing against. And there was a way to invite people and bring people on, but in the games that we were playing, we didn't really see that many people playing. I think the most people we had in the game, I think, was in the order of 40 or 50 people, and that was when we first launched. We had 40 to 50 people actively playing against each other. Now that's fine, but if you come off of work or you're doing something and you just want to hop on for a second, you can't just play the game by yourself because you need to bring somebody on. And so what I started to think about was, okay, well, what other options do we have? And so on my run earlier this week, I was talking with ChatGPT, and there are a couple of other options that we have. This is one implementation of one of the options. And then I also posted on X the other day a different implementation. And so the first implementation that I posted that I think would be decent enough for us to go to launch with is called, I think it's called LMSR. What is it? Let me see. 1 second. Let me check it. Yeah, I think it's LMSR. Uh-oh. My internet's acting up. Yeah, LMSR. So what that stands for is a logarithmic scoring rule. And what that does is, and here, let me actually I'll bring up the post on X that I posted so we can look at what it looks like together so you can see kind of what I was thinking. Wait, did I post it? Oh, I didn't post it on X. I only posted it in the Telegram. Okay, give me 1 second. I'll bring it up. 1 second. Let me find a picture. It's in our feedback channel. And then let me see if I can bring this into a window where I can show you guys what it looks like. Okay, perfect. Okay, so this is what it would look like. This is just a picture, but this is what a logarithmic scoring rule would look like. So effectively what you have is you have all of these predictions here, and depending on where you click, you'll basically get a multiple of your deposit that you tap down. So if you tap down $8 and you're right, you'll get 1x here. So you'll get like your $8 back. Obviously, this is not 100% correct, because this would be maybe like 1.1 along this line, and then maybe it would be something like 2 or 3, and then the further away you get from the current price, the higher your return multiple would be, because the chances that the price is going to go there are lower. Or maybe they do become high, but they go high, or they become very low because it's trending the wrong direction. So this LMSR, logarithmic scoring rule, is one way to implement the game. Now, there's a couple things about this that I like and a couple things I don't like. One thing that I do like is that it's very simple to kind of run this calculation. So you basically have to run a math calculation on every single box and figure out what is the return multiple that you would get. And what happens is this whole game actually becomes a liquidity pool. So you could have so one of the challenges with the single player or with the pari-mutuel is that it's player versus player, so there's actually no liquidity pool. You're just basically playing, and the liquidity pool is everybody who's playing at that time. So if there's nobody playing, again, you can't play by yourself. The benefit of the LMSR is that you can actually have a liquidity pool. So people could put up collateral in terms of dollars into a pool, and then as other people are making predictions, the pool would basically fund the winners, and then when the pool wins, if like for these two that are red right here, they would basically be paying into the pool. And you can calculate this out so that it's like a fairly balanced game, maybe like 52, 53% or 51% to the pool, and then 50% to the, or 49%, sorry, to the game winners. And it's just going to be a statistical average. It's not going to be based on, it's not like hard-coded numbers. So this is one way to implement it, which is the LMSR. And so if we implemented this, there's another thing which I don't really like about this, which is there's a lot going on the screen, right? I think in order for this game to be a game that retail traders can play and can like have an enjoying experience, we can't have all of this clutter, right? There's like all these X's everywhere. There's all these boxes everywhere. I think that this experience, while I think it's easy and maybe we can build, I was thinking about it earlier, is if this can be turned into some sort of tap trading game studio or whatever, where we do have the PvP version where we can, invite people or maybe have bots play against people. Then we have this LMSR version, which is some more complex version with a customized liquidity pool running inside of an ephemeral roll up like Magic Block. And then we have the third version, which is I think what we're going to go with to do our MVP launch, which is it's basically we're going to use perpetual decks on the back end. And the decks that we're going to use is actually Drift. Drift released over the summer. They released this API called the Swift API, which is their Drift 2.0 API. And what it does is it allows you to place trades. They're not on chain. They become on chain, but you sign them and send them to the DEX, and then it does all the transaction management, and then it will actually issue you your trade and close out your trade on the back end. And it eventually does everything on chain, but it runs off chain first, so that you can basically make it run faster than the Solana blockchain. So we're gonna try to build on top of that. And so what does that look like? So remember, the first thing we had was the pari-mutuel game, which is what we've been playing for the last couple of weeks. The second thing we had is the second thing I tried was this LMSR, which is the logarithmic scoring rule, which basically gives a weighting to each single block on the screen, and then every single block can either go, up or down. And then what we're going to try now is basically this version of the game. So this is basically like a delta. It's a delta or perpetual bet, right? So what you're either doing is this green line is basically the current price, and you're either betting above or below the green line, and you're either thinking that the price is going to go up, so it went up, so I get $6 plus some fee, or go down. Now the interesting thing about this type of game is that you can just play this by yourself. Because if you place this bet here and you think it's this is crazy that it's actually going up. If you place this bet here and, that's a bug on the back end. I need to fix that. But if you place this bet here and it does actually go up and you win, you're actually placing a trade. So you're placing a perpetual long or a perpetual short. And so you don't need, there's already a market. Drift already has a market. They already have people that are market making. There's already millions of dollars of liquidity in the pool. So you're effectively trading against the market in this scenario. And the other interesting thing about this is that you can actually apply leverage now, because Drift supports up to 100x leverage in, these three markets here. So if you click, here, you can do a $5 bet with 100x leverage long, or you can click here and do one short. And obviously, this you're playing after the market, and the market's not going my way. But you could think of somebody placing a few bets, and then boom, now you just made $700. Okay, now you just caked up, right? And this can actually run fully on chain, fully powered by Drift, right? So this is, I think, the game that we want to go with, just because I think it's going to be the easiest to set up and have it working, where somebody can play without having to have a counterparty or another person on the back end who is playing in the game. So you can see right now I'm just here by myself. The screen is also still pretty clean. Obviously, we need to explain what's going on in these bets, and maybe we might need to color some things a little bit differently. And there's also something I also want to do with kind of visualizing the background, because it's really hard to tell that this is a moving grid here. And so I want to do something. I need to look at some other user interfaces like airplanes. What is it called? Like the cockpit, when you look at the little screen in the front, there's like that gauge. I want to look at that, and I want to give it a little bit more of a motion feel, so you can tell that it's moving up and down, maybe with like some dots or something like that. But basically, this is, I think this is going to be the game that we'll go with. We just need to kind of style it a little bit and make it a little bit easier. But this is effectively the same game. You can go in here, you can say, hey, I want to do like 5x leverage, and I want to place a bet here, and this should be $35 if the price of Ethereum jumps up. The other thing, not fast enough. The other thing I did is I also changed the resolution here. So one of the things that was interesting, and it was kind of a little bit annoying, is like Bitcoin was jumping all over the place like crazy, right? When you were on Bitcoin, you would see it going up and down pretty violently. And what I did was I changed the increments to $10 spaces, vertical spaces, when it used to just be 10-cent vertical spaces. And when it's 10 cents, it just jumps all over the place. Like you can't even see this thing. Like this line is jumping all over the place like crazy. So I changed it to $10, and now it's a little bit more smooth. And what I think the way this game might work is that Solana might be like $1 bets, Ethereum might be $10 bets, and maybe Bitcoin is $100 bets or something, or predictions. That way, it's like instead of this 4 being here, it'll just be a consistent number. So no matter where you're predicting the same amount, and you can just be further out or closer, and it's not dollar denominated. So that's something that I'm thinking about doing as well. But we got to figure out how that would actually end up working. But I think that this type of game where you can place leverage, you can do notional bets, I think this is going to be a better game than at least to play by yourself. Especially, see, like this would be crazy. Imagine if you put $6 down and you get $90 back, right? I think those types of experiences are going to be what will make this game a lot more exciting. So this is the third one of the talking points that I was bringing up earlier, which is you've got the parimutuel game, which we tried, and I think there's some good aspects to it, but there's also some challenges to it in terms of cold start problem, which is how does this game start when nobody's playing, and also the payouts, right? You need to have a lot of people playing at the same time for the payouts to be worth it. The second one, which is the LMSR, the logarithmic scoring rule game, I think that game is more fun. It's obviously going to take a little bit more custom code. I looked into different platforms that actually could provide a backend for a logarithmic scoring rule, and I didn't really find anything that was on Solana that was at scale. I think there was something called Hedgehog Finance that does it, but they didn't seem like they were that active on X or anywhere really anymore. So that probably won't be an option. And then there's this third way, which is just using perpetuals and, effectively treating them like options. So this, I think, is going to be the easiest thing to launch with, where users can come on. They don't technically need another counterparty person playing because they're trading against a perp dex. They can do the longs and shorts. It's really simple to just tap, and there's nothing crazy going on. If you're right, you win immediately, and then that's it, right? You can just place these perp bets, as many as you want. So that is what I've been thinking about, and definitely I think that this is what we're going to ship with. Now the question is just like, how fast can I code up the rest of this thing to get this thing integrated and working? So right now, it's partially working. Oh, this is on mainnet. You can go in and you can create an account on Drift, and I need to sponsor those transactions because I'm basically going to sponsor all the transactions for all the backend stuff. And then once you have your account created, you'll actually be able to just play the game with the account that's logged in. I don't think Drift has any, they don't have any transaction fees once you interact with their API. So I think everything basically will be sponsored. Everything will be super fast. So that part should be good. The question is just like getting the rest of this put in place. So that is going to be what yo, this is funny. You see this? This is the question. It looks too easy. Yeah, we got to figure that out. So I mean, if people are winning, but we need to figure out how this is going to work, because the other thing is we need to figure out what the leverage bets look like. Oh, the other thing is that you're not seeing is when you do place a bet, because if you do a leverage bet, what happens is you're putting up collateral. So 50x leverage means that the price only has to go against you a little bit. So you're not seeing the liquidations. Like this would automatically lose. This would get liquidated because it moved against you. So while it looks easy, it's not fully functional yet. But this is just kind of like an idea of how it would work, right? So it does look easy, yes, but I don't know if it's actually that easy. So we'll see. But that's a good comment. And anybody can go play this right now and go test this out. If you just go to bloxwap.com, and it should automatically load you, I think, into the Solana market, which is fairly chill, fairly stable. So you can just place predictions here. This is probably harder to win at versus Ethereum or Bitcoin because they're both a little bit more volatile. But there it goes. So. That didn't win because the boundary timer. So yeah, there's a couple of little things I need to fix in practice mode to make sure that it's as accurate as possible. And then, basically roll this into staging. Now, thankfully, Drift's API is actually decent compared to some other PerpDex APIs that I've tested out. But this shouldn't be too crazy to implement. I've got most of the scaffolding in place and all of the bet prediction in place. I just need to test it out locally. On DevNet. And then once I test it out on DevNet, we can all test it out together. And should be pretty straightforward. And the benefit of this is part of the way that the Bloxwap game works, right, is that if you go back to our hub that we have here and we look at our reward system, right, we want this flywheel to start kicking off, right? We want to have revenue coming into the game. which will be which will be generated from people placing these bets. Every time you place a bet, there's going to be fees associated with it. When you win, there's going to be fees associated with it, et cetera, et cetera. So we want to make sure that people are engaged and coming back and coming to keep engaging with the platform and playing and learning about these different types of instruments that may be a lot harder to trade on other platforms that are more complex. We want to make sure that all of this stuff is in place so that we get this flywheel going, right? Where we start generating revenue and then we are able to pay the team, the community, issue out prizes, and then kick off the buy and burn that we talked about a few weeks ago. And the buy and burn goes specifically towards the Bloxwap token that's on Pump Fund. So that is it. Let me go back to, I'll just stay on this. Actually, I'll go to this screen here. Screen's a little bit more stable. Actually, let me switch this to Bitcoin so that it jumps around a little bit more. Okay. So yeah, let's take some questions. Cool. I think that all. Okay. All that is kind of a great idea to actual 100x leverage scalp trading. Yeah, I mean, it looks very easy it's I feel like it's going to be something where we need to definitely test it, right? Because it's going to be easy to, like, the game is fairly easy to implement. And obviously, like, you're making it easy for people to click these buttons and do these trades. I think part of the challenge is making sure that the visualization is clean. And then when the wins are big, there's like some very nice, successful winning screens, which I think I have coded in, but they're not coded in on practice, which let me actually write that down. Always taking notes. Code in big wins for practice. I'll put those in today. Please leave PvP. Maybe not many players now, but good marketing, people will come. So we need to focus on one thing. So if we're going to do PvP, then we need to just make sure that we have thousands of people waiting in line for PvP. And in our demo sessions, while it's been okay, there's definitely been times, because I see the live analytics where there's nobody playing the game, right? Or there's like one person connected. And so in those scenarios, because I have Google Analytics tracking, and in those scenarios, if nobody's actually playing, then it's going to be a bad cold start experience for anybody who shows up. With this, there's always going to be somebody showing up. So what I think, if I'm thinking about this from like a rollout perspective, I think we should start off with the PVM with the perp decks. Then we should move to the PvP, because at that point we should have enough players in the perp decks where you can say, hey, I want to try a different game, right? And go to PvP. And then I think once we have those two established, there'll be, I think we'll be able to take a little bit more risk and then migrate over into the PvP, but with the LMSR, so the logarithmic scoring rule, but I mean, that's going to look crazy. And the other thing with the logarithmic scoring rule is that I would need to build a new game engine. Basically, I would have to build like a Rust WebAssembly game engine, because the amount of once I put all those X's and all that stuff on the screen, it really, really slows this game engine down. Like, this is designed to make, like Super Mario Brothers from the 90s, not designed to do anything complicated or any complex phi stuff. So I found a Rust thing called Bevy that would let me build a game engine. So basically rebuild this exact same screen, but have it running in WebAssembly, which would be super, super performant. But I just don't want to take the risk and time to do that right now, when I think we can get this working and this can actually be a great experience. Let's see. Also, you're saying now that you wanted to have different modes in the game simultaneously. Yeah. I mean, there was originally a PvP and a PVM mode from the beginning. I just didn't actually know how I was going to do the PVM mode when I first started looking into this. I had a couple of like high level ideas, but the concrete implementation and the UI design, I just basically thought about this, kind of inspired by one of my friends from the Zen community named Joseph, where if we just have this line and you're basically just picking above or below the line and everything else is moving around you, I think that that's a good way to have this PVM long short mode. Now, the question is, which one do we start with? Because even though I did have two on the site, I made that site, I don't know, 3 months ago or whatever, and I just kind of made it as a vision board of like, this is how we want this thing to look in the future. But I think starting with the PVM is going to be easier for people to just show up, cold start, and they just try the game, and they can basically win or lose against the market, and it doesn't require somebody else. So let's see. Keep going, Joe. Lots of respect for what you're doing. I appreciate it. Also, thank you for all your help in the Telegram and on X. PVM first, then PvP. PVM first, then PvP, then PVM third. It's a PvP sandwich. PvP with a minimal collateral amount. How would that work? That's basically like LMSR. It's like a logarithmic scoring rule where you'd have collateral and then you're basically playing against that collateral. That's a good idea. What if you make a lobby system for PvP? I feel like, so one of the things is like I'm trying to make the fewest amount of options as possible and the easiest zero to gameplay as possible. So I don't want to have like lobbies or like anything that's complicated. The login process right now, I'm not even going to let you have to put Sol into this game, right? Because I don't even want you to have to pay Solana. Like, I don't even want you to have to try to figure out how to get Solana into your wallet. I'm trying to remove as much stuff as possible and make the barrier to entry as low as possible so that anybody can show this to somebody. Like, you could be out in the street and be like, hey, checked out this game, have them download it or go to the website on their phone, and they should be able to get in and get onboarded in under like 2 minutes and be able to try the game with real money in like under 2 to 3 minutes. That's the goal. So I've seen some other games that do like lobbies or they do like rounds where there's like a round and then it'll simulate some price action and then it clicks out and then you have to do another round. I really want this thing to be continuous, and I want this to be very similar to like a massive multiplayer online game where there can be as many people playing as possible, and the liquidity basically can get bigger and bigger, because what will happen is if more people are trading through this platform, then we become the driver of the DEX volume versus the other way around. So if you look at you look at Pump Fund, right? Pump Fund started off, it was just a little UI, and I think they used like Radium for their backend. Well, guess what? Now Pump Fund has enough volume because they're driving everybody through the UI that they built their own DEX on the backend, right? And so if we can build something where we just keep where we drive the value to the decentralized exchanges or the perp dexes, I think that's going to be very beneficial for us. I mean, you see the same thing with like Hyperliquid, right? Hyperliquid is a great user experience that drives value to the back end. Same thing with Axiom. Great trader experience that drives value to the back end. So we could do a lobby. I'm not really thinking about lobby right now, just because I think if we put a lobby in place, it would just add another step that I don't know if people really want to engage with at this point. So let's see, next question. Yeah, you're right. PVM first and PvP. Dude, you probably said this like 5 minutes ago. Sorry, I'm trying to get through. Why not a high roller PvP? I mean, we could definitely do that. I think all of these are options are options that we can definitely do. I just think that they require, the PvP mode requires one extra step of inviting somebody, right? So what I'm thinking about is, let's say you just open up bloxwap.com. You just show up at this website. You're the only person, you're the first person in the world who's seen this website. And you're by yourself, nobody else is awake. What is the thought process of what you're going to do? Well, first you're going to have to like create an account, right? So there's a little bit of an onboarding experience that we have, but then once you get past that onboarding experience, you have to create an account, right? So you create an account, which is one click. Then you're going to have to either connect your email or connect your wallet. For most people are not in crypto, so they'll just log in with their Gmail or their Apple or their X account or their email. And so there's that step. People are cool with that already. Now you have a screen where you have to do something, right? So that screen is going to say you need to deposit USDC, right? So that's another step. And then you need to create a username. And the username is basically creating your Drift account. So you do those two steps. And then the next button that you press is a prediction. That's it. So you don't have to do anything crazy. You don't have to invite anybody to play. You don't have to do anything else. It's just that, and then you're already to making your predictions. You're already to making your tap trades. So I think that amount of steps is a lot for a lot of people. They're not going to have that level of patience. Now, thankfully, once they come back, they don't have to do all those other steps, right? The game is already loaded. They can just open the app and just start tapping the screen. But I think even that amount of steps is a lot. And I've seen like crypto apps that have way, 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 way more steps. Like they're having you jump through 1,000 hoops and doing this and doing that and then connecting this and connecting that. We're trying to remove all of that and just make it really, really straightforward and really, really simple. Yeah, now I'm even more shortified. Take your time. I don't have time to take. We do actually need this. There is a sense of urgency here. I know every time somebody says, when are we going to mainnet? And I ask you, what's your DevNet address? I'm partially trolling, but there is a time limit on this. Like, this is not something that we can just sit around and just wait forever. So it's just, I think part of it is that there are a bunch of examples of games that operate like this, but none of them have really like taken off yet. And so the question is, what is the differentiator that's going to make people come to this and keep coming back and keep having a great experience? And that's when we will build that flywheel, which will then be beneficial for all of us because we're all holding Bloxwap, the token. So then that's beneficial for all of us. But if we just make something and then we launch it and then nobody comes and then it just dies out, that's not going to be fun. So let's figure out how to make it fun. And that's why I need your help, right? Because if you guys are playing it and you guys keep coming back and you guys keep testing it out, that's beneficial for me because I'm looking at the metrics and I'm saying, oh, people actually like trying this out. Versus if you use it and then you're like, all right, when mainnet, everybody else is going to do exactly what you're doing. They're going to come and they're just going to be waiting for the next person to show up. Look at that. Right on time. When will this be ready for launch? I preemptively answered. It'll be ready when we get the mechanics correct. BP, I think you're correct. As simple and as user-friendly as possible. Yeah. I mean, like, there's lots of experiences in crypto that I really, really do enjoy that are I would say very complex. But, I'm an engineer, so I can sit there and look at all these colors and look at all these charts and look at all these lines and be fine. But most people, they're not into crypto because it's too complicated. And I feel like we need to build an experience that's very simple, very, very simple. And yeah, one of the things I always say, and I tell this to my friends all the time, and I also tell this to my co-founders, is like, you can always make something more complicated. You can always add another button and add another screen and add another mode and add another drop down and make something way more complicated. And there's always that option. But the question is, can you refine it and make it more simple, make it easier to use, make it more clean, make it more engaging by removing stuff? I think that's the job of a great editor, is to remove the things that are unnecessary and make it as simple as possible. Like, theoretically, we should just do this on Bitcoin if we really want to make it real simple. Just be like, hey, you're only doing this on Bitcoin. There's no Solana, there's no ETH, and that's it. So maybe I'm going to delete Solana and ETH from the dropdown also. We'll see. Have you thought of hiring devs? I have, and I do actually want to hire devs, but I have a very, I'm very picky, let's just say, and I have a lot of opinions about working, about teams, about creation. I think I wrote this blog post because I've talked to a few people that live near me in the Bay Area, and I'm just very very picky when it comes to developers and hiring people, especially because this is crypto, right? So one of the main things is that when if you're hiring people, if it's just some like website, you need some website that's like some software as a service, AI thing, you could just hire whoever, right? Because it doesn't, at the end of the day, it doesn't even really matter. You're just building something that's just going to generate more spam. But when you're doing crypto, you're dealing with people's money. And as soon as you start dealing with people's money, there's like private keys to, or like API keys to specific accounts that if you bring in some random dev from some random place, do you know him? Do you trust him enough to give him the private keys to, like, let's say we have 10,000 people on this site. Are you going to be comfortable with some rando person doing that? Like I know myself, and, I've worked at all these big companies, and I've worked in the security, like as an actual, security engineer. So I have a lot of very strong beliefs in terms of how I believe you should secure stuff. But at some point, if you have testers, you're going to have to give them access to parts of the system. And the question is going to be at the end of the day, do you want to give another dev access to, be able to like flush the vaults or, do whatever, spend the tokens, right? For fear of them like running off. And so for me, it's like I need to make sure right now when it comes to devs, if I basically don't already know you or I don't know somebody who knows you, who's known you for a while, it's going to be really hard for me to trust you and be like, yeah, let's just bring this person on and give them access to the repo and give them access to the code and give them access to all the API keys. It's just a tough sell right now with how many people are, especially like the amount of people that are sending me messages about, hey, we're a dev team based in blah 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 and we've got top talent and we want to help you build your thing. It's like, yeah, and then you can just drain all my users, and then my project looks like I messed everybody up because I didn't do the diligence up ahead. So I do want to hire devs, but you pretty much have to move to California if you want to work on this project. I'm not working with remote people right now, so. But I do want to hire people. Seeing forward to this. Maybe looking forward to this. Translated. Seeing forward to this, though, that works. I like it. Can it be command based? Thinking of using Pump Fund Live Chat. They can connect the wallet and all that. Basically, another implementation of the front end. Yes, it could be. I think right now, because we're using Drift, we're using Drift. You should be able to play this game in Drift. We'd have to make probably like a little wrapper around it, but yeah, we could make it command line based also. And even though I would love that, I feel like retail people do not like command lines. So, I mean, I'm in the command line all day, but yeah, it would probably be difficult to onboard the masses if you have to type a bunch of command line stuff versus just clicking on the screen in a random spot and hoping that the green line touches your blue box. I think marketing should be before launch. Yeah. I agree with you too. One of the things is that I feel like if we market too early and then we're just, people are already like, when's this coming out? It's like, it's maybe, I said it was supposed to launch Monday a week ago, right? And then we did our test and it didn't work. And then we made some refinements. And I think we're getting to a place where the game and the experience is a lot better, especially after all the feedback in the feedback channel in the Telegram. But, we need to, and I do think we need to do marketing before we launch, but I want to make sure that we have something that when people show up, it's like, there's this thing, right? You can have all this great marketing, but if somebody shows up and then the experience is horrible, the marketing, you're just wasting your money, right? You need to build the flywheel so that when somebody shows up, they have a great experience and they want to tell somebody else about it and have that other person have a great experience. So there's tons of marketing things that we can do, but I feel like there's a core flywheel effect that we need to be able to get going where somebody can see this, be excited, record their own video, share it with somebody else, and then that person can also see it asynchronously of the original person and have that great user experience as well. Has there been any communication with Pump Fun for their ICM push? Oh, you know what's funny? I'm trying to go to the Pump Fun offices tomorrow morning. I'm going to New York tomorrow, so I want to see if I can go swing by there. So if anybody knows anybody who works at Pump Fun, let me know. I'm trying to get in. So yeah, I went on. They have a new pump screener on their website. I don't know if anybody has seen it yet. Maybe just me, because I'm on that website now every day. Let me see if I can find it. What is it? Pump Fun? It doesn't seem like it's very easy to get to the list. They basically have like a list mode somewhere. And we're, I think we're like ranked like 200, token 200 or something on Pump Screener. Let me see if I can, let me go to Pump Fun from a different browser and see if it brings up the mode. Nope. It's not telling me. They have some list where you can see, if I do this. Oh, here we go. Let me share my screen. So there's this Pump Screener, which is like supposed to be like Deck Screener, but they've obviously got all this stuff at the top, this is interesting, like below the fold, above the fold. But yeah, if you go down here, I think we're on page 4, because there's 44 tokens a page. Are we here? We're like 1.3 million market cap, I think. Yo, whoever made this token, shout out to you. This is bright. Oh, we're on page 5. We fell off. Wait, did we fall off? We must have fallen. Did we fall off? Or did we go up? Let me see. Oh no, here we go. 190. Here we are. 1 month old. So yeah, we're like 190. So yeah, I want to actually go by their offices and say what's up. I would love to chat with them. Just got to 2K at Bitcoin from $100 in 3 minutes. Oh my gosh. Yo, your name, Degen. How much leverage did you have on? That's my question. Don't wait too long. Yeah, I know. People will get tired. Trust me, I want this thing to launch too, because one of the things that I'm actually very, I think I talked about this a couple streams ago. One of the things that I'm actually very, I wouldn't say like annoyed, but like I'm just very, there's so many narratives in crypto where people are like, oh, crypto's about this, crypto's about that, crypto's about this. And I feel like I have my own opinions about, what I think crypto is about, and from looking at the code and reading the white papers and just being around this space for a while. And I feel like while I have my own opinions and my own narratives, by putting this game out, this really is kind of like, okay, this is really like, this is my, this is a creation that I've built that reflects my ideology of what I think crypto is about. And so I feel like I want to get this out too. I do not want this to take much longer either, for multiple reasons. One, it's going to be a good test for on-ramping retail. I used to listen to this crypto podcast, like back in 2016, and they had this saying that they said the adoption is the only thing that matters. And I feel like right now, and I feel like that statement when they said it was like, yeah, that makes sense, right? We're trying to on-ramp people onto crypto, and they would have all these crazy people as guests. Like they had some, like, they would have like sex workers on, like anybody who could use crypto, drug dealers, whatever. They had them on there. And then at some point, crypto went from like being from adopting people to just basically making all these little silos and all these little communities. And I feel like the idea, the vision behind this is let's get people on and get people using crypto and get people having a good time. So they're like DGen Pirate here, who made 2K on Bitcoin from $100 in 3 minutes and is saying launch it now, right? We want people to have good experiences. And I think, and so I don't want this to be lingering around either. I want this thing to be launched and I want this thing to be live. So that's, I'm with you. But when I'm doing these streams, guess what I'm not doing? I'm not programming. Yep. Oh, this is the same thing as re-edited. Market it when your product is ready, but launch it a few days after. Yeah, that's exactly the plan. Yeah, so we're gonna market it once I get this thing working in once I get this thing working with the Drift API, which I'm talking to them, and I have a different Telegram chat with them where I'm talking to them. And once I get this working with their API, and it like actually does, you could actually have the experience that DGen Pirate had. I'm gonna basically say, all right, let's go full out on the marketing campaign. Let's send out all the emails, et cetera, et cetera. 50x leverage. That's not too crazy. I mean, it's crazy, but it's not too crazy. Did it must have like a huge sweep up or sweep down, something like that. Wait, how'd this get reset? Back to Bitcoin. To be honest, Alliance style would probably eat this shit right up. Yeah, dude, you know what's funny? I've applied to every one of these things. Every single accelerator. The problem is like I just don't have so there's like two things that are going on in my head, right? Because I'm basically working on this by myself. Obviously I have all of you are with me. Wait, there we go. All of you are with me in this together. But because I'm coding this primarily by myself, there's all these like forms that you have to fill out. Like, dude, I've applied to Alliance, I've applied to Coliseum, I've applied to Orange, I've applied to like some things that are like not even in the US. There are certain startups. Whoa, dang, Bitcoin's going crazy. Hopefully Michael Saylor's okay. There's certain like startup accelerators that are in certain areas that I've like applied to that are not in the US. Like there was one that I applied to that was in Europe, and it's just like all these forms and they ask you the same thing over and over again. What's the value prop? What is the problem? What is the solution? Where is the community? And honestly, while I think those are all really good, I feel like if you just build a great business and you just build a great idea that can generate revenue, you can kind of hit escape velocity. And I love the one thing I do like about those all these programs is that they have great networking, right? You're going to meet other people. So when I was telling you like, hey, I want a developer that I can trust that I know through somebody else. If I go to Alliance or if I go to any of these very reputable like Coliseum, Alliance, Orange, any of these reputable places, I think I'll be able to find great people that are also aligned philosophically. Because one of the things is I know like a lot of really, really amazing developers that I can meet in other areas, but most of them are doing like AI stuff. And I feel like it's going to be really hard to work with somebody who's working on this, but then in the background, they want to write like a chatbot to, do whatever. So I'm trying to find people that are really committed to building this and that want to solve and see this specific problem be solved and not work on something else. So that Alliance would probably be the best place to go find people because I know that they definitely crank out banger after banger after banger. How long do you think it'll take? I don't know. It should. Hopefully it doesn't take more than a couple more days, but I've said that before. So we'll see. I think my goal is that by Saturday, so I'm going out of town for a developer conference. My goal is that by Saturday, we should be able to have a DevNet version of this working against the Drift API. And then from DevNet to mainnet, if we get the experience right, the leverage, the bet placing, all of that stuff, if we get all that stuff right, and everything looks good by Saturday or Sunday, it shouldn't be more than like a couple more days to basically go to mainnet, right? It's the configuration management system that I have is basically, I just have a flag that says, turn off the main game for mainnet. It's there, but it just shows you nothing because it shows you the waiting list, the mailing list. So the game could be there. I just don't have it on because we need to make sure that the user experience in DevNet is good. So that's why I keep asking people, what's your DevNet account? What's your DevNet address? Because if you have a DevNet address, that means you're actually helping. And when you're asking how long it'll take, it's actually valuable because you're actually helping and you're helping make the game better. A lot of people that are asking how much longer do you think it'll take? You don't have a DevNet address. You're not even helping. You're just asking questions. It's just wasting my time. So not saying you are meme coins. I don't know if you have a DevNet address or not. But if you don't have a DevNet address, don't worry about how long it'll take because you're not helping. All right, are we almost done? Oh, you know what? I bet you there's questions in the pump stream. Here we go. I like the MVP pivot. I don't like the center price function though. Now that it's a trading game, I'd like a standard chart. When you say standard chart, you mean like with candlesticks? I wonder. I might be able to do that. That might be a little bit more complicated to implement. This thing is like, I think the problem is, and I know I don't know what the words are to explain the problem, but I know what a user interface looks like that solves this problem, which is like you need to kind of see some way that it's moving, and it's hard to tell other than looking at the numbers on the right hand side. And I know what user experience solves it. Like if you look at like the depth meters on like submarines and stuff, it's basically that user experience that I want to kind of put in here, but I just need to figure out how to get that going. I'm answering questions in the Pump Fun chat, by the way, so that's good. And then let's see, we got green hearts in arena. Nobody said anything over there though. Start with as few options as possible and then scale. Also, long-term, having a weekly leaderboard. Yeah, you know what's funny? I think if you use Drift, they have leaderboards. They have all that stuff built into their whole system, like P&Ls, leaderboards, everything. So I think we should be able to use all that stuff. But I think if we want to do the PvP mode or eventually build our own infrastructure, we're going to have to build our own leaderboard system and our own everything. So there is that. Agreed. I agree with what you're agreeing with. Let's see. All right, let me see. Let me play a little bit, and then I'm actually gonna put on Bitcoin too. So let's see. We're gonna do 35x leverage. Oh, wait. There we go. There we go. Let's come back up. Look, what? Yeah, see, when I was playing this yesterday, there's probably like 20 minutes where I just clicked out so much money. It was just, I don't know why it's just moving now in the direction. I think it knows that you guys are watching. So it's like, oh yeah, let Joe win. Bitcoin's watching me. And it's like, yeah, Joe's doing a great job. Awesome. I appreciate it then. Thank you for your help. So yeah, we probably got a couple more. Saturday, we'll do another test on Saturday. I get back from New York on Saturday, so we'll do another test on Saturday. It'll probably be a little bit later, just because I don't think my flight lands until the afternoon. But we'll do a test. Try to do a test on Saturday with this actually working against Drift, and then once we do that test, if everything looks good, maybe we might need like one more day to just double check everything, and then after that we should be good to go. Oh, there's one other thing I need to resolve, actually. which hopefully I can get that done today or tomorrow. I have a couple of meetings in the next couple of days. But basically, this price feed here is coming from Pith, who's I think they're listed on the hub. So if we go to the hub here, so the price feed is coming from this company, Pith, and they have the product that they're issuing these feeds from is called Laser, and this Laser feed costs like, I think it's something crazy. It's either like $5,000 a month or like $25,000 a month, something like that. Which, if you have a real company and you're actually doing real stuff and you don't care about only like Bitcoin and Ethereum and Solana, it totally makes sense to pay that, right? Because you've got like a real business going on and you really need to pay for these feeds. But we just need these 3 feeds: the Solana price, the Ethereum price, and the Bitcoin price. So I'm trying to work with one of the partners on the back end and see if I can get a sub account under their account. So, because they're already paying like $25,000 a month or whatever for this thing. So they're just going to add me on as a user to their account. And I think that would also be good, because what's going to happen is at some point, this feed is going to die out. With the API key that I have for this, it's not going to be working. And that would be the worst experience, is like, we have this thing up and running, we go live, everybody's playing the game, and then boom, price feed goes away, right? Because, actually, you know what? Let me make one more thing. No bets if price feed is inactive for more than, it should be 1 second. I'm just going to make that little thing. So, yeah, so that would be the worst scenario. Is like, let's say you're playing this game and then all of a sudden you're like, click, 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 and then price feed drops. Then you're like, wait, what just happened? Now, the bets will still be resolved because the backend drift will still have the price feeds, but the UI won't have them. And so, excuse me. And so we need to make sure that that's taken care of as well. Somebody else showed up. I think got a lot of questions. Hold on. PvP tournaments would be fun. Yeah, dude, I think PvP is going to be actually really awesome. I think, PvP, you put like some liquidity in and then you play. I think it'll be really cool. I just want to make sure that we have a good cold start for users, especially in the cases where nobody's there, right? I think that's one of the biggest challenges, is when you have this game and you're just playing and nobody else is here. That's really where it becomes really difficult. Because if nobody else is there, then you have to go invite somebody. And that little bit of time that it takes, I don't think people have a good enough appreciation for how short. Woo, look at that. Back up, baby. I don't think people have a good appreciation for how short people's attention spans are. Like, people are not really, they don't really want to wait that long for things to happen. And so when you're looking at, and so when you're thinking about the onboarding experience and playing this game from a cold start, you can't have people waiting around to try to get a friend to play or waiting for somebody else to show up to play. But I do think that, like, if we have these games where, there's like a PvP and there's like a tournament, maybe it's a limited time tournament, I think that would be awesome. Okay, here we go. Skill decks. This game is addictive. Thank you. Just bought some more tokens. Okay. I thought you were talking about in here. I was like, you could just click on the top right here and get more dollars. You don't have to buy tokens, but I know what you're talking about now. It's confusing though when the green line hits the box. Yeah, sometimes. Okay, so this is a bug that I need to fix. The problem is, like, the way the game originally worked, it used each box as a different, what's it called? Like a different winning quadrant. And I need to say, from the original price, is it over? It won't do that in the real game, because the real game is actually going to be placing a leverage long, or sorry, perpetual long or perpetual short. So it will close out and it should work really perfectly in the real game. But I'm going to fix that also today. Because this is definitely an issue. And I want it to, in practice, work the same way it's going to work in the live game. That way, when people are practicing, they know what to expect when they play the live game. There's also another issue that I need to figure out how to visualize, which is when you do the leverage bets, you can basically get liquidated, and there's no liquidation visualization right now. So, like for example, if I place these, well, it's not going to do it now. Yeah, okay, that's not right. Uh, let's say I place these bets here. Come on, go down, go down. So yeah, if I place these as leverage bets, these would all get liquidated because they're at 35x. So as soon as it moves down a little bit, it should liquidate this person. So I just need to visualize that as well. But yeah, there's a couple of little things that we need to get working to get it set up properly. But I think from a general gist perspective, this is kind of how the MVP of the version that we're going to go live with soon will work. Having short and long at same, not against the rules of most perp providers. Oh, I don't know. I need to look into that. Yeah, because I don't know. Yeah, I have to look into that. The shorts and longs are going to be, I think when the positions are issued, they're issued with timeouts. So they're issued where they need to be. They're going to be you'll issue a perpetual. Somebody will take the perp, and then it will expire. Or if the price moves beyond the long position or beyond the short position, it will close out. It'll auto close out and auto pay. So I need to look into that though. But that's a good call out. Thank you. I didn't know that. Can we all play Saturday? We should be able to. I'm going to be programming on the plane and on my trip, so we should be able to play on Saturday. Connecting with the perp market is a way to go. Thank you. I'm slow, so it took me a while to figure that out. Why do bets validate before the price gets there? Bugs. The system on the back end. Remember the back. There's like right now I have a like a simulation of what an actual perp dex is going to be doing in terms of these bets, and I just wrote the simulation yesterday, so it's going to have a couple of little issues with it. So there's bugs with what you're saying, which is that the bets validate before they get there. And there's also bugs with what SkillDex was saying, which is sometimes it actually goes past it and it doesn't validate. So those will be resolved in the real thing. But like I was saying before, I need to make it so that the practice mode reflects what's really going to happen. Sounds great. That's why traders can't go long and short at the same time. Okay. So maybe you'll only be able to have one position outstanding at a time. Maybe it's like you only get one pick. Otherwise, they could just close the position. It's not going. Yeah, that's true. Delta neutral leverage trades. So you need to predict where the line goes in the vertical line. I don't get exactly how this works. So time is going from right to left. And when you make a prediction, you need to predict whether you think this green line is going to go up or green line is going to go down. And if you're right, you get the payout plus the leverage. And if you're wrong, you lose the money. It closes out your position. So I'm saying, hey, I think Bitcoin's going to go up, right? And I'm making these predictions. And I don't know if you can make multiple based on what SkillDex is saying. You might not be able to make multiple. But I thought it was going to go up. It didn't go up, right? So I'm going to say, okay, I think it's going to go up again. And I'm placing way more bets now, right? Bitcoin seems to be chilling. So it's not going up. Oh, there it goes. So once it goes in the direction that you're thinking, so it went up, then you get paid out. Is how it's supposed to work. Like I said, I think there's a better visualization for this. I just need to figure out how to I just need to figure out how to visualize it and keep the UI as simple and clean as it is right now. Oh, DevNet's broken. DevNet's not set up yet. It still works the old way. Check DMs after stream. Oh, I saw your DMs before the stream. I'm just super busy right now, so I will get to it though. I might have to get to it later this evening when I'm on the way to the airport. AI says you can go short and long at the same time. Yeah, we'll find out. I'm gonna test the Drift API and see what you can do. Obviously, I would ideally like for you to be able to place as many bets in as many directions as possible. I don't think the perp decks would have a problem with that, but I don't know what the constraints are in terms of opening up positions on top of Drift. If you can only open up a certain amount, maybe their API limits you. I don't know. So I still need to read a bunch of the documentation again and then figure out exactly how the positions will be placed. But the good thing is all of the work that we did before to get the smart wallets in place and all of that information is all structured properly. So now we don't have to worry about creating an account and doing all of the stuff with the smart wallets. Everything should be taken care of from that standpoint. Excuse me. You got a confetti win? I think that's like is that like $1,000? Oh, that's crazy. Yeah, I think a confetti win. I think it's like $1,000, or maybe it's $100. Interesting. Okay, cool. Yeah, I want to do those like confetti wins. I don't think I have them coded up into the practice mode. Let me add that in. See, this is good. Add confetti win to practice. Oh, dude, you wrote a long block. Also, you need to check with the perp decks. If you can open long profit, usually comes by price moving higher. This is just multiplying the margin if the price goes up or down. Yeah, that I need to look into that for sure. Yeah, that's why I need to read the docs and figure out exactly how the perp bets work in the API, and then I need to take that information and reflect it back into the practice mode so that it works properly how you would expect it. Because I think, if you're saying like, oh, I made $2,000 in 3 minutes on Bitcoin, maybe that's not how it would really work. Oh, so yeah, I gotta figure that out. All right. Good Q&A. I see all the bets still coming in. Let me... Dang. 25,000 people placed bets in the stream. It's a lot of people. All right. This is the last question. So if I understand correctly, when I place a long bet, it opens up a leveraged long trade on Drift. When the market moves above the trade, it gets closed out at the time. Yeah. Perfect. That's exactly correct. All right. What? Oh, I need to fix this thing. Nope. That's not what I wanted to hide. Okay. All right, everybody. I'm about to go to the gym, cut my hair, got a meeting. Then I'm going to fix these couple of things, and then I'm going to also keep looking into this Drift API. I actually have a lot of the scaffolding for the Drift API working. I just need to call the functions and make sure it does what I expect it to do. On DevNet, it's a little tricky because you need the takers to basically react instantaneously. So you have to basically place your own perp and then take your own perp, and then you're basically you have to act as the market maker as well. So I just need to get that implemented, and then I think we'll be good to go. So yeah, the goal is Saturday. We should try to do another test. Hopefully Saturday, maybe Sunday, because I'm going out. I'm going to a conference, so a developer conference. So might not be able to make it on Saturday, but I'm gonna try to be back on Saturday to get on a stream. All right. Thank you everybody for coming to the stream. Thanks all 232 people here, and then who's on Pump? We got 7 people on Pump. Uh-oh, somebody said something. Let's see. Somebody said, what if the price differs from Drift and the place where you get Drift uses the same price feed. They use Pith. Everybody uses Pith. So the price feed won't differ. The question was, what if the price feed or the price differs from Drift and the place where you get the price feed from? So Drift uses Pith, and I'm also trying to talk to Drift to see if they can let me be a sub account on their account as well. So hopefully either them or Magic Block can let me have a sub Pith laser account, because everybody who has anything that's going fast is getting their prices from the same place basically. Optionally, the price for the UI should come from Drift. No, yeah, the price for the UI right now, it would. I guess it could come from Drift, but Drift gets their price from Pith Laser. So it would actually be better to not get it from Drift, because we can connect straight to the laser feed. And so it basically, instead of it going from Drift or Pith to Drift to us, it goes from Pith to Drift, and then we also get the same feed from Pith. So, same feed from Pith. So I think it would actually be better to just get it from, both of us get it from the same source. But when your predictions are evaluated, they're going to be evaluated based on the Drift prices that are the Pith's version of the Drift's version of the price, and what Drift thinks the price is, not what Pith thinks the price is. So complicated. But yeah, it's a good call. Good questions. Let's see. Anybody on Arena? Nope. All right, cool. All right, I'm out of here. I'll see you guys later. Have a great Wednesday. And Saturday, we'll try to re-meet, and we'll try to work on testing this thing out with Drift. Drift.trade. All right, see you. Oh, also, yeah, follow-up news. So, follow me on X. My X handle is Joe Blau, Joeblau. You can follow me on X. Also, join the Telegram channel. That's where we have all of the people, all the scammers are showing up, all the exchanges, all the bots, they're all in there, plus all the real people. So that's where we're collecting feedback for the game. So if you're trying it and you don't understand something, or something doesn't look good, or it doesn't work on your phone, anything's not working smoothly, let us know, and the Telegram is the best place to be. There's a bunch of people in there that already know a lot more about the game than the average person, so they can also help you out in there. And so that's a good place to be. There's a feedback channel, there's a marketing channel, and there's a DevNet channel. So any one of those channels is helpful. The feedback channel is good. That's how we kind of got to different iterations of the game. So it is t.me/Bloxwap. So Bloxwap. There's no S in there. So if you go there, that's our Telegram channel. And then we have Bloxwap on Twitter as well. So it's just at Bloxwap. And then you can follow Joe Blau on X as well. So that's it. And yeah, if you follow me on X, that's usually where I post when we're going to have new streams and stuff like that. I just post them from my account. So, all right. everybody, have a great day. Have a great afternoon. Have a great morning. GM, GN. And we'll chat on Saturday. All right. See ya.